All right, we left off here with this problem, which was going to take us too long, so let's get into it. At the mall, you run into a high school classmate and whom you haven't seen in years. While catching up on each other's lives, she mentions she has 2 children. All right, so let's just talk about that for a second. If she has 2 kids, what are the options for their genders? Boy, girl, or boy, boy, girl, boy, boy, girl, girl, girl. Okay? And we're assuming, again, everything's equally likely. These are the only 2 gender possibilities, etc. Just for the sake of sort of easiness. All right, assume that you already know your classmate has a son. What is the probability that both her children are boys? Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. You want to know what's the probability that she has boy, boy, right? Both her children are boys, given that she has at least one boy. Right? In other words, let me write it out a different way. You want to know the probability of boy, boy, given that you know that she's either, she has either boy, 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 girl, or girl, boy. All right, that means that there's only 3 possible outcomes. You know that girl, girl is off the table for her, so you can't even consider it, right? And that leaves you 1 out of 3. Okay, again, by this probability rule, you take the number of ways that both E and F can happen, i.e. boy, boy, there's 1 way that can happen, and you divide it by the number of ways that event E can happen. Well, you know that she has at least a son, so that means there's 3 ways that can happen, right? These are the 3. Oopsie, right there. So how many are boy, boy? This one out of 3 total possibilities. You know that girl, girl is off the market because of the fact that you know that she has at least 1 boy. I know, it's blowing your mind, but it's true. Okay, now what about a moment later, a boy comes up to her, running up to her and says, "Hi, Mom." Your classmate then says, "This is my youngest child." Now, what is the probability that both her children are boys? So let me take what I did before. Okay, but when you meet the kid and the kid is the youngest one, then you know automatically that boy, girl is off the table. So now you only have 2 possibilities, right? Because girl, girl is out from the first one, and now boy, girl is out, right? Because the boy is the younger kid. At least 1 boy is a younger kid. So now you want to know what's the probability that she has boy, boy, given that you know that she's already in either, the boy, boy, or the girl, boy market, right? So that means there's only 2 options for this lady, and one of the 2 of them is having a boy, boy. So that's 50-50. I know, blows your mind, I know, but that's how probability works. Always full of trickiness. All right, so now let's look at the Harry Potter data. Please keep in mind, by the way, this used to be an IRS example. So if you still have the IRS example in the notes you printed out, then sorry about that. You can just go reprint out this page because I didn't like the IRS example. It was too boring. I want to talk about movies. But if you want to do IRS, you can do it too. All right, here's our class. This is the data from before, and I want to know what's the probability that a random person in the class has seen all 8 movies given that they're female. Excuse me, I hiccuped. So probability seen all 8 given that they're female. All right, well, according to the rules, that's the number of ways you can see all 8. Let me just use the formula for once. See all 8 and female divided by the number of, oh my gosh, what was that? Number of females. Well, that would be 10 out of 18. Okay, so what's the next one? The next one's, and that, by the way, it's looking at these 2 right here. Okay, the next one is saying the opposite. What's the probability that they've female given that they've seen all 8? Okay, well, that's going to be 10 out of 14. Right? It's working off the column here. And that's where we're going to have to pause, and we'll pick up right here next time. Okay?